Hey there, fellow book lovers. Welcome back to my channel. We are already over 7 months into 2025, which is crazy to me. So for today's video, I just want to look at my reading goals, see what's working, what isn't, and how I'm going to reset my focus for the rest of 2025. So settle in, get cozy, and let's talk about 2025. Let's start with a refresher on what my reading goals were this year. I set out to read 140 books this year. I wanted to read at least 4 buddy reads. I wanted to read at least 1 nonfiction per month and 1 poetry book per month. I wanted to annotate at least 1 book per month. I wanted to offload at least 10 books this year. And then I wanted to attend at least 3 bookish events. Finally, and most importantly, one I add on every year is that I want to enjoy what I read. And then I have a few other challenges that I added into my book journal, which include my book bingo, which is just trying to get every one of those categories to get bingo. And then I have my 6 friends, 6 books, which 6 different friends recommended me 6 books, and I have to read them. And then finally, my books will self-destruct, which is just if I don't read these by next year, then I will have to offload those books because they were books I wasn't sure that would be something I'd read. Not so much a challenge or a goal, but I also have my 25 books in 2025 that I want to look at, which is just 25 books that I chose that I wanted or hoped to read this year. So we will take a look at that as well. And finally, on top of all of those challenges and goals and stuff, I also have created for myself a monthly challenge, which is just different things that I hope to achieve that month in terms of bookish goals. I was clearly very ambitious for 2025 goals, so let's take a look at where I'm at in each of those goals and whether I'm on track or if I need to reevaluate for a more realistic goal. Out of the 140 book goal, I am at 103, which according to Storygraph and Goodreads is ahead by about 21 books as of today. So I think I did really good with this goal and I'm really happy with it. I feel like this was a perfect goal for me. Of course I hope to get to more books before than 140, but I feel like this was like the perfect setting goal for me because it doesn't add stress to me, but it's also kind of ambitious and fun for me. So I'm happy with that. I've already done 4 buddy reads this year, including Wisteria, If I Had Told Her, I, Medusa, and Caraval, each with different friends, so that marks that goal as complete already. I do already have some other buddy reads planned for the rest of this year, so I'm going beyond that. I know kind of part of that goal was that I didn't want to do too many buddy reads because it kind of sometimes distracts me from what I'm doing. But honestly, it's been really fun. I love talking to them about these books, so this goal has been good for me and I'm happy with it. I have so far accomplished the 1 nonfiction per month, 1 poetry per month, and 1 annotated book per month. However, I'm not really happy with these goals anymore. At first, I thought it was great because I wanted to make sure I got to my poetry and nonfiction books, but sometimes it feels a little limiting to me, either because I don't feel like reading that right now, or because sometimes I want to read 2 nonfiction or 2 poetry or something, but then I'm thinking, oh no, but I won't have enough of those books for next month, so I shouldn't read that right now because I want to make sure I have one for each month of the year. So overall, I didn't like that one too much. The annotating especially felt a little exhausting. I've always wanted to have a lot of pretty annotated books, so I wanted to at least collect 1 for my collection each month, but I am just not feeling as motivated sometimes. In some months I want to do all my books annotated, so I just felt like these goals specifically were a little limiting and I don't think I'd use them next year, but I do kind of want to try it out for the rest of the year just to see if I can keep doing that, but I'm iffy about it. I'll see. I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. In terms of offloading my books, I have already offloaded 4 or 5 books at the beginning of the year. It may have been more. I'm not overly concerned with this one because I know I have a lot of books I want to offload soon. I just have to go down to my used bookstore and give them to them. But this goal will be easy for me to achieve. We'll see when it happens. But I know this month, August, my monthly goal is to offload a few books. So I will get that done probably this month. Attending the bookish events is a little vague. I wasn't sure what I wanted at the time, but I feel like I've either accomplished it or will be accomplishing it soon. I went to a opening of a new local bookstore, which was amazing, and I was happy to be there. So that one's already one of the 3 events down. I also did a few other bookish things. I went to the bookstore with some friends, online friends, and we went to check out a different new bookstore. So that one kind of, I don't know if that's an event really. It was more just so like a gathering. But I do know that in October and November, I have 2 different events coming up. One is the Las Vegas Book Festival, and then one is Reader Nation, which is a different event. So I know I'm going to achieve all of these the event goal. So I'm happy with that one. And for the final goal on that page, reading what I like, I feel like I've done that pretty well. I haven't DNF'd many books this year. I think maybe 1 or 2 I did. But I just genuinely feel like I've liked what I read. So I don't think that one was something I was like struggling with. So that one's good. And as for the challenges, let's start with the book bingo. That one is almost complete. I just have the classic on there. And I'm not entirely sure why I added that to begin with, because that's not like in one of my interests, at least currently. I read a lot of classics when I was in college as an English major, and so I'm just not super enthused to get back to that right now. I do think classics are beautiful. I think they're great. I just have been wanting to read a lot of more modern stuff, so I'm hoping I still get to that, but if I don't, I'm not feeling super upset about that either. For my 6 book 6 friends, I have read 4 out of 6 of them. The one of them, I have a physical copy that I bought, and I'm going to be reading that hopefully soonish. And then the last one, I'm waiting on the library because I put a hold on it, so then I have to go pick it up, but it's not in yet. So I think I'm pretty on track with this one. I always enjoy doing the 6 book 6 friends because it gets me out of my comfort zone a little bit. I already read 1 mystery / thriller. I'm gonna read 1 romance, which is the one that I'm waiting on from the library. I read like a sci-fi one that my boyfriend recommended. Honestly, it just like really helps me to expand what I would usually read, and sometimes I end up really loving them. So I like this goal. I'm gonna keep it, and I'm on track. For my books that will self-destruct, I've only read 1 out of the 8 of them, which is not very good if that is like a strong goal of mine, but I'm okay with it because, like I said, these are books that I wasn't sure I was gonna like or I would ever read. Some of them I got from like a library sale for like 50 cents. So I'm not super disappointed that like I haven't read these books yet. But I'm gonna try a couple more hopefully by the end of the year, but if not, then I'll just offload them, and that's okay with me. As for my 25 for 2025, I'm gonna show you guys these graphics, and as I'm going through them, I'm going to check mark in green if I've read them. I'm gonna put an X in red if I haven't, and then any orange is like it's not out yet or it's been postponed. Out of the 25 books for 2025, I've only read 12 of them. That isn't great. That's not on track, but I am still really happy with what I've read for 2025. I had a lot of new releases and arcs and other things that I felt were more urgent for me or more interesting at the time for me to read. So yeah, I'm not on track for the 25 for 2025, but I mean, I'm keeping with my goal of enjoying what I read, so it's good either way. 3 of the books are in orange, and that is 2 of them that haven't come out yet but will be coming out later this year, and 1 book, the sequel to When the Moon Hatched, has been postponed to 2026. So I'm not going to count that against me, so I'm technically like half because 12 out of 24, but it's sad that I didn't get to read that because it was on there, but it's fine. Overall, since this one wasn't really a goal or a challenge, I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't expect to like read all of them, I guess. I just hoped to. So I'm going to hopefully still read more of that list, but I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't reach that goal. As far as my monthly goals go, I think I've achieved all of them. I didn't think I was going to achieve my July one, which was to buy at least 3 books because it was a birthday haul. However, I went to a used bookstore on July 31st, which was like the last day I could achieve the goal, and the sales were so good, so I ended up getting like 10 books, so that technically marks that as good. So that should be all of my goals have been completed so far. Like I said, this month is to offload at least 3 books, so I hope I can get that, but I don't know, those ones were kind of more for fun. I'm not going to be stressed if I don't accomplish all of those, so just we'll see. Now that the check-in portion of the video is done, it is time for the lock-in portion. With only 5 months left of the year, I just want to take a moment to realign and recenter what my priorities are for the rest of the year. I'm pretty much on track with all of my goals, so I want to continue on the path that I'm on. I just wanted to add a few new, goals or rules for myself that may help me a little bit more. Rule number 1 is that I can only request up to 3 arcs per month. I've overwhelmed myself with arcs lately. I haven't been able to get into my physical library because I've been reading arc after arc after arc. And so this is just to help me focus on that. Ultimately, I want it to be 0 arcs per month that I request. However, I also acknowledge that some of my favorite reads this year have been arcs. And so I don't want to limit myself from being able to read those amazing books. But I also want to take the time for my own books that I have on my shelves. So I'm just going to limit it to 3 per month, but it probably won't be that high. Rule number 2 is that I'm going to slow down on my book buying. I bought a lot of books this year already. And I'm happy with all these books. However, I just want to focus for the rest of the year on intentional book buying, because I do feel like sometimes I get really caught up in sales or other things like that I'm like, oh, well, I'd be losing money if I don't buy it. I mean, I'd have to buy it in full price later. But some of those books that I quickly pick up because I really want to buy books aren't entirely to my taste. So I'm not going to set a limit to myself here, because if I'm being intentional, that's okay. But as long as I am focusing on what books I really want, whether I need that book right now or if it's more just enticing me at this moment, or if I could wait for a sale or things like that. So I'm just going to focus on intentional book buying for the rest of the year. And then number 3, which is more so a goal than a rule, is that I'm going to finish the Shatter Me series by the end of this year. I really love the Shatter Me series. I've just read up to book 4, so I have the novella next. So I just really want to finish this series by the end of this year, because I feel like I've kind of put it off. I read a book and then I'm like, oh, I have to read this arc, and I have to read this, and I have to read that. And so I just have been splitting it up a lot, but I really want to make sure I do finish that this year. So that's another goal I'm making sure I do, because I'm really addicted to this series and I want to read it. Overall, I feel like this check-in really helped me establish which goals and things I want to do next year and which ones I won't be continuing to do next year. However, I still kind of want to stay on track with the goals I've set this year, so I think I'm going to keep them. However, I added a few extra things that will help me with those things, help me focus and reset myself a little bit. So there's a little bit of addition and no subtraction, but we'll see how it goes. And of course, most importantly, as I've talked about before, I just want to enjoy what I'm reading and what I'm doing. So I'm not going to have any hard set on any of these. I'm not going to be disappointed or stressed out if I don't accomplish these. I just want to enjoy the journey. That's it for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more bookish content, and hit the bell icon to get notified when I post. Let me know in the comments how you're doing with your reading goals and whether you also need to do a lock-in to make sure you accomplish those. I'm going to be starting a series on my Instagram page later this week on locking into my physical TBR, so stay tuned for that at C's.library. And as always, until next time, happy reading. And how I'm going to focus for the rest of the I added a I don't know why I do that.